Hello, and welcome back to yet another episode of Philip Chuck's Beer. On today's episode, I'm going to be cooking. It's been the first cooking episode in a while, but I'm going to be a little bit lazy, so I'm going to be cooking something easy. I'm going to be cooking burgers. And because I'm very lazy, I am using, I've store-bought buns and pre-ground meat. However, I will be using a grill pan because that's the closest thing I get to a grill, and I enjoy the sort of smoky texture. Let's readjust the camera a bit. Here we go. Right, I'll probably be adjusting that on the ways as it goes along. We'll see. Anyway, to fit in with the whole grill theme, comes in the chucking mechanic of the day. For I have been granted a mighty gift by a dear friend of mine, an apron which holds 6 cans of beer, which I must say is more weight than I'm used to carrying when I'm cooking. However, it will become lighter as time passes. Now, this will be a two-parter thing in one video, but first I'll be doing the prep work and chugging 3 beers. Afterwards, I'll have a shower. You won't see that though, because that's not safe for YouTube. And then when I come back, I will do the actual cooking. Now, let's make pickles. Right, so first of all, let's start out with a little bit of a cheeky beer. And that should be number 1. Yes, it says number 1 even. You can't quite see it, but I'm dealing with a limited angle here. Sue me. Righto. So, yummy. Jug of the day, number 1. Cheers. Ooh. That is horrifically cold. Oh, good God. I should not be getting brain freeze from chugging. Oi, woo! Righto, let's get back to it. Well, I'll need a pot because I'm going to be making, something to pickle things in. And I might as well start out with that. So I will be getting a pot of. Honestly, is this enough? It's probably enough. I'm going to be pickling, some cucumber and some red onions. So first of all, for that, just get a bit of water. Honestly, I'll just fill it up from the sink. You won't see that. You don't need to see everything. Stuff that goes on in the sink isn't all that important. Good God. There we go. Bit of water. So as to not make it too extreme. And then we will be using some vinegar. And some apple cider vinegar. It adds a nice bit of pleasant acidity as opposed to the storage vinegar's much stronger taste. That's a 4. What's that there? Alright. Needs more vinegar. Good thing I've got plenty. Never go down on vinegar, children. How is this open though? That's weird. Plenty of clear vinegar. More apple cider vinegar. I may just have added too much water to begin, but well, we'll deal with that as time goes. We'll then be boiling this and adding it to small glasses wherein I will be putting, cucumber and onions, 2 separate ones. And then I'll be adding a little bit more to them then. Is that strong enough? A little bit more. This is the pouring vinegar show. Is this one milder than I'm used to? It's very strange. Yeah. I think I got a milder vinegar there than I'm used to. That's a bit annoying. Oh well. This is going to make my kitchen smell terrific, by the way. Absolutely sour. That's life. You deal with it as it comes along. That. Yeah, that's better. That should be nice. It won't be the strongest pickles I've ever made, but that's fine. And then we want this to become warm. Wow! Right. So, time to bring out the mandolin and make some cucumber. This probably needs to be adjusted a little bit because last time I used it, I was making pomesana, which needs to be rather thinner than I want the cucumber to be. There's the cucumber. Got a nice and cheap cucumber because I don't really need an expensive cucumber when I'm going to be pickling it anyway. God, I love plastic. Plastic, fantastic. Now that term I like quite a bit. I find it funny. My dad used to use it all the time. Now he doesn't because he just doesn't, I guess. Times move on and so do we as people. Right, let's do a little bit of test. That is definitely too thin. Good God. Is this not adjusting correctly? Looks about right. Well, we're off to a great start, I must say. Maybe I'm just being stupid and turning the wrong way. I am admittedly quite tired. Nope. That is a good size. Right home. The funny thing about this is you can say, look Ma, no eyes. And then suddenly you'll just go, look Ma, no fingers. These things are death traps, but they're very, very, very practical tools to have in the kitchen. But be careful, children, or you will die. There we go. Took moments, and I've now got quite a bit of cucumber. Right, do I have a glass for that? I wonder. I should probably have checked that out first. Do I only have one pickling glass? It's clean at least, but well, that's a bit annoying. I should have prepared for this a little bit better. I guess I was too lazy. It shows I've got duck fat, but I'm not using that today. How very annoying and very strange. There's none of my glasses left. Are they in here? No, wait, there's the big one there. Good, I'll use that for cucumber. Clean? It's clean. It smells vaguely of cucumber, so must have been used for the same thing. I'll use the small one for the onions because I'm not going to be making as much pickled onions. I don't use that as quite as often. I do like it quite a bit though. It's nice, pickled onions. And a little bit of a chef's treat, cucumber. Delightful, delectable. Ah. Right. That's going slower than I expected. I'm just going to put this away. I'll clean it up in the break part of the video, because you don't need to see me doing the dishes. That's not particularly exciting, is it? But, onions, there we go. I'll now cut some onions, and I suppose after that I'll probably be doing my second chunk. There we go. Yeah. One might be enough, we'll see. I'll just be cutting the onion fairly roughly. Just make the camera look down. This is a very professional camera control, as you can see. It's nice to have a decently sharp knife. It's not very sharp, but you'll go through an onion like nobody's business. As long as it's not an overtly soft onion. But if your onions are overtly soft, you should probably consider throwing them out, because they might very well be bad. I'm looking forward to the condiment part of this video, because I don't think I'm using anything controversial, but people always have their thoughts about what is acceptable on a burger. But I can tell you, it's going to be very simple. I'm not going to be putting on truffles and other fancy things. Right. But we just want these to come in like half moons. On the floor. I should have used my other knife. I'm not used to using this one on onions. Because of course, we all have our specialized tools for dealing with various things. I don't have a particular onion knife, but I have one that I usually use for dicing vegetables. I've got this fancy Japanese knife I got for Christmas a couple of years back. Absolutely delightful. One of my two fanciest knives. I've also got one that's basically a small sword. Very aggressive. Okay, one is definitely enough. Obviously it expands a little bit, or rather becomes less compact when it's been cut into pieces. And that is very much so the case here. Right, that should be plenty. Chef's snack. Onion. Let's put that up. Indeed. Right. So that's like the primary bit of the preliminary preparation done. Gonna throw this out and chug a beer. The other part of the video will be the longer, more exciting one. Because I mean, that'll be where I actually assemble the burgers and whatnot. You know, that thing you're actually excited for. Oh well. Would it make sense when that one is longer to just do 4 beers then and only 2 for this one? Yes. Am I going to do that? No. Why? Because I need to pace myself. Good God. What's with you people? Righto, anyway. Beer number dos. That is Spanish for the number that is the successor to uno. Uno, of course, being a number they use and which they have named after the famous game. How is it the rules go in that game? Right, it's like someone puts down a card and you try and put down a card and say, go fish. Did I get that right? Ha! A little bit of a joke. Got him. Right, cheers! That was a much better temperature. Still pretty cold, but much better temperature. Oi, oi, oi. Right. I need to prepare a couple of things for the pickling. Let's see. I will want bay leaves. That magical thing that no one really knows what the tit is going on with. Try biting into them. It's an experience. Let's see. One for you. And 2 for you. So let's add 3 just because it's open anyway. Right, and then peppercorns. Do I have... What is that? Oh, rosemary. I'm not putting in rosemary. Couple of peppercorns. Always nice. It just looks appealing when they're floating around. I would also add dill to the cucumbers, but I forgot to get dill. Well, fresh dill anyway. I have dried dill, but if you're using dried dill, my mama told me if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say it. Right. Oh, God. The smell of pepper is so wonderful. Did you know there are people that buy pre-ground pepper? I know I just said that my mom told me not to say anything if I don't have anything nice to say, but people that buy pre-ground pepper do not like food. Simple as that. And you can call that a hot take if you want to, but if you do, then I'll just consider you insane. What do we have here? No. Why do I have so many of those? No. I want mustard seed. I believe I do have some mustard seed. Oh yes, I'm also going to be using... The condiments are bought as well, because I did not want to bother with making my own mustard and ketchup and such and whatnot. I've done so a few times before. It's relatively simple. Particularly mustard is very simple to make. However, it takes time and effort, and I've had very little of either. However, it looks like I'm almost out of mustard seed. Huh. Plenty of star anise, but that's not really needed right now. Oh well. Am I cheeky enough for that now? Let's see. Right. Apparently I need to open a bag. I only have brown mustard seed, which is a bit of a shame, because the yellow ones add a little extra aesthetic value. And as everyone knows, food is very much so, in part, presentation. That should be fine. Let's roll this up and add these. At one point, particularly in the second part, I'm going to have to turn on the what's that called? The air intake? I forget. Imhidde is what it is called in Danish. Anyway, that's probably going to be very loud. Look forward to that! I should really get just a personalized microphone, make life easier. I mean, most of my videos don't exactly have background noise, so it hasn't seemed necessary. Ooh, yes! Oh yeah, it's getting there. Fun fact, vinegar, when it starts boiling, becomes pungent, to say the least. Gosh! Ooh. That's fine. I don't need it to be actually boiling. Now I need to wait a bit, and I will be pouring it into the glasses while they are in the sink, because I rather would like to not mess up with things while I am in my kitchen. That's very dangerous. Jesus Christ, why is that frozen? I've got secret stuff in my sink you don't get to see yet. They will be in part 2. The part 2-ing. What? Right. try and see how much we can put in here. Not too bad, not too bad. Gosh. Oh, God, it is pungent. I love vinegar. I actually do. I think vinegar is a fantastic thing and more people should just use it for various things. It is so nice. I mean, get a good vinegar for most things. I mean, you don't want to just use regular white vinegar for everything. Then it'll just be sour. That's silly. And we don't want to be overtly silly about everything. Now, I dare say that was the initial prep work. I will thus be having the final beer of part 1. And then I will go have a shower. And sometime from now, the pickle stuff will... It's really pushing it to leave it pickling for that little. But you still get a decent product. The vinegar comes through a bit more than it perhaps has to, but that's fine. I can deal with that. It's still better than whatever pre-board you've got, because that tends to be overtly sugary, I find. I want some acidity in my pickles, whatever kind they may be. Pickling is fun. Anywho, it is time for the final beer of part 1. And so we put it down. Let's get this all the way close to the microphone. Truly one of the most satisfying sounds known to man. And then we do a little bit of an opening. And then let's see if I can actually down this in a somewhat decent tempo. Cheers. Well, a decent time. Anyhow, that's it for part 1. That was 23 minutes, so the total video will probably be an hour or so. We'll see. Anyway, see you soon. I'll try and figure out if I can do like a weird fade or something in between. Otherwise, it's just going to be a hard cut. Bye! And we are back. My hair's still quite heavy. I used a bit of some curling cream and some styling gel, and well, that makes the hair heavy. What can you do? It's going to take a little while, but it's going to look fantastic. Anyway, back to business, including, of course, the apron. However, I won't instantaneously chug a beer, because I only need to do 3 more, and as such, I will be waiting a slight bit. However, with the things I'm going to do now, I am going to remove something. What am I going to remove? Well, I'm going to remove my rings, because I'm going to be working, for one thing, with meat, and I don't want these rings to get stuck in meat. It's kind of nasty. Both the rings and the meat. Before I start on any meat, no, actually no. Let's start with one kind of meat. So a burger, of course, is going to have burger, the minced meat. But I am personally partial to using bacon. As such, I have defrosted a slab of bacon, which I will, of course, be cutting up just enough to use it, and then I will be freezing the rest of it down. You can do that. Fun fact. See if I can get the nice through. There we go. Nice and quiet. Now, it would be practical to take my hair off so that I could actually see what I was doing. But that would be boring. Easy doesn't do it, as they say. So, I will be doing just while it's still fairly frozen, I will be cutting 3 slices. Because I will be making 2 burgers for myself and then just a slice on the side, because it will give the others a nicer cut. There we go. And you go back in the freezer. Nice and liquid. Opa! Swick. Wonderful. So, I now have some, these are going to be going on the burger. They're of a decent size. I'm a big fan of a nice thick cut of meat. Yes. Let's see here. There we go. Defrosted a bit more than I wanted it to, but it's fine. We can work with that. Just removing the skin, because I do not, in fact, want to eat that. As you may be able to imagine, skin is not pleasant to eat because, well, have you ever seen leather? Yeah, you don't want to eat that, do you? No. There you go. It's approximately the same thing. Jesus Christ! Okay, it's still flipping cold. Good God. Let's take a small plate to put that on while we move on to the next bit. And I guess at this point it is only fitting if the next bit be number 4. I can do math. I mean, when you phrase it like that, you want to say 3, but it's number 4. Oh well. What can you do? Now, I did put these back in the fridge while I was showering and stuff, because it's been like a little over an hour, and I didn't exactly want that to go to waste. I didn't want warm beer. Warm beer, that's weird. Unless, well, there are contexts where it's nice, for instance, if you're cooking. Righto, anyway, cheers. Oh, that is cold. Right. I'm going back behind the camera for a little bit because I'm going to be washing this knife. Just a quick one. We'll be doing more later anyway. This knife is personally a bit aggressive for the purpose I need it for. And the board, just a quick rinse. Everything's going to be very hot afterwards anyway, so it's not like it's going to be unhealthy. But what I'm doing next is, of course, champignon, mushrooms. I won't be using too many. Let's say 5. And I will be removing the stems, which I will be saving for a different purpose, which is not something today, so you don't have to worry about that. Right now, I will just be taking those. Yes. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be, well, first I'm going to rinse them, then I'm going to dice them a bit, and then I'm going to be putting them in a pot and making them hot. Because at that point, after doing that for some period of time, they will turn very soft. And that is, frankly, delectable. I'm really quite fond of it. Like that, like that. Let's use this. And that needs to be done as one of the first things because it takes quite a bit of time. Should be plenty enough for 2 burgers. Now, because it's only 2 burgers, I've bought a grand total of 1 tomato, which I am going to be adding. If I can get it out of the bag. My hands are a little wet now. Right, there we go. A tomato. I know, quite a unique ingredient. There we go. Get a little bit of hair in my mouth. Again, it's not optimal, but it looks banging. Right, so just gonna test that. Nice and hot tomato. I can appreciate that. Bit of a rinse. Now I need to remind myself to actually have more to cut with this. I suppose if I want fresh onions, but no, I'm fine with just the pickled ones. So I think I'm mostly Gucci for that part. And I'll be washing this again. Here. At this point it is kind of the waiting game. Burgers are the most interesting thing to watch, so I hope you enjoy the wacky commentary coming along. It's not too wacky and there's not too much of it, but it is a thing that is occurring, so accept that. Now, let's just prepare this. Salad. There's a debate on whether or not there's any kind of interest in actually using salads. Classically, people will use iceberg, and iceberg doesn't taste of anything, and oftentimes it barely has any crunch, which I think makes it kind of pointless. Like, why bother then? It looks a little nicer, but it doesn't have any use. So what I am using instead, which I generally have good experience with, is romaine, which is more bitter and has more crunch. I feel this actually adds something to the burger. Amazing, isn't it? Right, so let's get that a quick rinse. Obviously, I don't need too much of it. It's just the 2 burgers. I don't need all of it, but well, I didn't exactly have a vegetable market nearby. I mean, actually, I do think I know where there is one, but I'm not sure how nice it is. I've been there I've been past it like twice. But I live in the middle of the city. This isn't where you expect to get the high quality grocers, unfortunately. Should be kind of fine. There we go. Small take off the... Ooh! Oh, that is... The smell, the aroma of the shrooms just heating up. It is quite something. Wonderful. Wonderful. This will work out. Keep them there. Right. What's next? I suppose. Well, I suppose I probably should turn on the oven. I want that to be even decently hot by the time I need it. And I will be turning that up to a high temperature. I need that essentially just to warm the buns, and then I'll be taking them out and finishing them off over here. It's a classic ordeal. I mean, I'm making burgers. It's not exactly... It's not rocket science. Rocket science isn't hard. Anyone can do that. Last time we had a famous rocket scientist in Denmark. He got famous because he killed someone. That was unfortunate. Well, yeah. I met that guy once, actually. Rocket Mason, as he was called, because he got famous for building rockets, and like he was showing them off on children's shows. And then he built his own submarine, and he took a news reporter on it, and then he killed her and chopped her up and dropped her in the lake. It was quite a mess. But when I was in high school, he visited our high school, and he told us about rocket science. So yeah, that's something. Right. I've got some minced meat. It's 8 to 12% fat, so I'm going to be using half of it, and the other half I'm saving for tomorrow to do the exact same thing again. So I'll have burgers 2 days in a row. Wow, life is hard. How will I live? Now, generally speaking, when making burgers, you don't want to really spice the meat beforehand. That's something that's often said, and that's something I agree with. But there's a but. I make one exception. I add a bit of smoked paprika. This is especially something that's nice if you don't use bacon bits, because bacon usually is smoky. But if you don't have that, and you then just add like a bit of smoked paprika, you get a lot of the same taste sensation. You don't get the bite, but you get a lot of the same sensation. I'm honestly quite a big fan of that. So I will be adding a bit of smoked paprika. That did not want to come out. Right, see here. Check my phone. I am a professional, which is why I'm going to be playing video games under this video, but you won't see it happen. Ha. Right. But at this point, I think it is apt for me to do beer number 2. Well, 5. But it's number 2 of this part of the video, so you know what I mean. God, don't have to be so hard on me. Nah. But the 5th beer of the night, and it is a good night. Like, just being able to go out shopping and not being in isolation was genuine bliss. Oh, it smells delicious. God, I can't wait. Oh, man. God, I love food. Cheers. Right, just give this a quick mix in. I've got to say, this isn't the most appealing looking meat I've ever seen, but of course, usually nowadays, when you buy pre-ground minced meat, it's going to be very red, which is a very appealing color in the meat, but it is usually artificial colorings of various kinds, because you don't get the good meat when you buy pre-ground meat. But it's usually fine because it tends to be prepared and sourced and whatnot, so it doesn't really matter that it's not the best meat you get. I mean, can you taste the difference if you get a burger where you use actually good meat for it? Yes, by God, yes. Is it worth the money? Not necessarily. I mean, it can be, very much it can be. I'd be willing to say I'm not one who appreciates a good quality meat. But if I'm going to be splurging for some good meat, I'd rather just have it on its own, maybe with a bit of sauce, than make it into a burger. To me, burgers are not going to be fancy food, and I know there's a tradition nowadays for making burgers very fancy, but I ain't about that. I mean, flipping Noma did a burger shop, which is just baffling to me, but I mean, I guess their whole deal is sort of pushing limits of what things can be and yada yada yada. Toss off. Give me a burger, and I will say that the burgers they made were less expensive than I expected them to be, which means they were horrifically expensive. But hey, right. At this point, we can get out the grill pan. Oh man, I'm almost. It's kind of a shame that I said I'd use the grill pan, because otherwise I'd use the cast iron pan, and that is just an experience every time. It's a horrible mess to clean up, but it is so fun to use. Like, just the fact that it's so heavy you can barely like move it around. It is fantastic. That won't it. Oh yeah. But yeah, I'm going to be heating this up. Actually, might as well. The thing, of course, with bacon is it is fairly high fat, which is great because fat tastes very nice. And we're going to be using that, of course. I'm not really going to use any oil or anything like that. I'm just going to leave the bacon out here, starting at a lower temperature, going up, and then the bacon will release its fat. Wow. And I will be using that for the beef afterwards, because it will actually take some of the taste from the bacon and sort of incorporate that. Plus, it means I don't have to use more oil. I use a lot of oil in my daily life, trust me. Man, I'm down to a final beer. Am I going to say that until I'm done cooking? What a terrible fate has befallen me. Wait, where's that? Something is not where it should be. Unfortunately, I have more things in my kitchen than I have space for. It's a right shame. I'll be getting a bigger kitchen in the future, and when I do, you can look forward to some amazing videos. It's going to be like 7 years, but stick with me, and you'll get to see nicer cooking videos and more chucks. Just gonna move up in the world a bit. Easy peasy. Seriously, if you haven't tried like just doing your mushrooms like this, fantastic. You must. It is bliss. See, we want roughly half the meat. Baba! Chop it. Just bring these into small burgers, I guess. And a little bit of salt on top, because you don't want really to integrate it into it, there's no need. But you do want it on top of it. My pepper grinder is acting against me. How very annoying. Oh well, got it out. The mushrooms are nearing completion, which is fantastic news. It is. Just got a bit left. Move that. This, the rest of the meat, I am going to be saving for tomorrow, so as the responsible man I am, as of course you know I am, just knowing me, I'm going to be using cling film, which is basically impossible to remove without making a mess, but I managed somehow. So I'm going to be saving that in this bowl. I've actually got fridge space right now anyway, so might as well use the full thing. There. There. The mushrooms are almost done, and there's not so much smoke that I actually need to turn these on, which is great. Bacon is approaching done on that side, which is good. At this point it doesn't take too much effort to finish up things, but we take it slow and steady. Slow and steady wins the race, and make sure you don't have nasty burgers. Let's see here. No, you need a little more. A bit more. Probably should have made more mushrooms though. I sometimes forget just how much they like shrink in size when they start to lose all the water in them, which is a lot of water, by the way. Okay, wow, the pepper flip burst. Bungus! We are at that point where I'm basically just waiting for things to happen. So you see me ranting. Yeah, that's about as long as I can be bothered to stand still. I'm really starting to regret that I didn't just use the cast iron pan. Honestly, it gives better results. I mean, me using the grill pan is basically just mean. Don't you just love how that word has lost all meaning? Memeing. Shouldn't kill me. Oh well. This is very much so edible. The thing is, grilling the burgers was wonderfully. Grilling the bacon, less so. The bacon, it's much better to have sort of the flat plate to have it on, because then you actually have more melting of the fat, which you want for the actual cooking. Whereas the sort of the burnt grill marks, it doesn't really add much more than aesthetic value to the burger, but it's enough for that. Okay, I just noticed that it is smoking more than I thought. I can see the air is getting thicker. I'm just going to open a window because that makes less sound. I'm a professional. I'm not a professional chef, but I am a professional. I have a job. Surprise, I have a job. I think these are just about done. Nice. Very nice. Now I just need, basically I need the bacon to be done. And then I'll be doing the beef, which will not take long. And then I'll make the burgers. And I will display the burgers. Yes, that's what cooking is. You make food, and then you present it, usually to yourself, or to whomever you may be eating with. And then you consume it. You eat the food. Amazing, isn't it? Oh. I think I may have gone a little heavy on the styling gel. But my hair does feel very, very nice. Yes. Yes. You know, it's a shame that L'Oreal had that whole slogan, because you're worth it. Because it's a fantastic slogan, I just don't use their products. I don't have anything against them, I just use other stuff. Usually what I use depends a lot on what my family is using. When it comes to hair products, it usually depends on my dad, or rather what he's selling, because he runs a hair salon. I'm really just trying to not turn on this, because this is very noisy. This is going to be a horrible mess once I get to the beef. Let's open another window. I have two windows. They're right next to each other, so this won't make much of a difference, but I can pretend it does. I can barely see. There is a lot of smoke in here. Well, I can see, no problem, but like it's noticeable. I am not a clever man. This was a horrible idea. Horribly. Okay, this is the last time I'm doing something that's going to smoke so much. Good God, I might. You know what? I'm gonna have this beer now. And then I'm going to take out another one from the fridge, and that will be sort of the finale beer. This will be me making it through the trek of cooking and coping with the ridiculousness that is this situation as a whole. Let me just check the bacon first. Oh! Oh God, that... Oh! I'm not sure how clear that was, but that expression, that was a pleased one. That is a pleased one. I flipped it over to the original side. This is a lovely burn. The other side will get that too. I will check my beer, then I will remove the bacon. And good God, we're approaching heaven, friends. Yes. Cheers. This beer will be chugged when I'm ready to serve the food. Let's see here. I think it's also because it's so focused on the grill pan, it really gives more of a burn to the bacon than it does like a proper thorough cooking of it, which again means less fat removal, which is a shame. It will give a better bite to the bacon. So from that front, it's an improvement. But, pardon me, it's less good for actually getting the fat out to cook other things in it. So, do I have any fitting oil? I do not. Oh God, no. God, no, I'm not using that. Well, this is going to be interesting. Put my what? Oh, let's try. This is going to be a mess. If visibility lowers, it's going to be my problem. Good thing there's not a fire alarm on in my actual room, only outside. Because this is most likely going to be a horrible, horrible mess. You should have seen the last time I made sous vide at home. That was a flippin' mess. Good God. Well, I'm gonna have to turn this on, hopefully. Hopefully you can hear something. You probably can't, but welcome to noise. I have to turn this on maximum because this is a lot of smoke. Jesus. It smells fantastic, but it burns my throat. Yes. Oh my God, I can breathe again. These things are there for a reason, but I can see the volume peaking on the microphone. So the reason they're there is not for cooking videos. They're saving my lungs. I have no idea if you can actually hear this, so fingers crossed. And at current speed, it looks realistic because the full video is going to be around an hour, so nice. Well, I never understood when you have sort of instructions like leave it on for this long. That, like, if you get like an explicit time, it will work correctly, assuming you have the exact same fat content on the exact same thickness, on the exact same heat. Like, that's no guarantee for it to work. What you do is you keep an eye on the meat, and you try to observe. Does it seem ready? Yes, no. If yes, flip it or remove it. If no, leave it be. I mean, I guess it's mostly for people that are just getting into cooking because it can seem intimidating. Maybe, I guess. I don't know, it's been a while. It hasn't even been that long. I mean, I didn't start really cooking until like 5 years ago? Something like that. Yeah, 2016 is probably, yeah. I mean, cooking is easy. Cooking fancy stuff obviously isn't, but just cooking, easy enough. Just keep doing it, you'll learn it quick. And it's fun! If there's one thing I learned as I grew up, it's that the kitchen is the adult's playground. At the very least in my case. I really like being in the kitchen, I really like having fun with my cooking. Experimenting. Like, oh, how do I spice this thing? Well, what do I have available? What can I play with? What can I add to this, and that? I'm not going to be adding much when it's a burger because I want that to be kept fairly simple. But like, if I'm doing a larger pot dish of some kind, I'll spice it a lot and I'll experiment with what I can do. When I made pasta with meat sauce or tomato sauce, depending, I get very experimental, especially when I'm trying out different meats. Which just reminds me, I wish it was easier to get horse meat in Denmark, but it's so hard. And it's annoying because horse is delicious. Horse is genuinely delicious. I've had it a few times and it is just fantastic. Oh, that is beautiful. Mwah. Made them bigger than I should have, but what can you do? Oh, that's that. Bam! What a strange sensation. Hey! Speaking of food, I was invited before Christmas. A friend of mine created a group to try, for a few of us to go around and try all the Michelin restaurants in the city. And I thought, well, that would be fun. I can be a bit stingy, and Michelin restaurants are very expensive. Very expensive. So what I suggested earlier today is that we try out this other restaurant I know, which is decently expensive, but where you get a multi-course meal and wine ad libitum for about half of what it would cost for just the food at the Michelin restaurants, because the Michelin restaurants are all very consistent in what they cost, and it's too much. Honestly, it's too much. Like, I will at some point, because I want the culinary experience, but it's pushing it. It's really pushing it. Like, the place that I suggested that we try out first for on a weekday, where it's a little bit cheaper there, for full course meal plus wine ad libitum, it is 700 kroner, which is about $140 or 85 pounds, I think, which is pretty expensive for dinner. And when you then have the Michelin restaurants, they're twice that just for the food. I like food. I love food. But I'm not made of money. It's not like my poo comes out gold. I wish it would. It would be more pleasant than what comes out, but hey. Scatological humor. This is... Wait, what? Oh, unexpected. The smaller one is carrying itself harder. Unexpected. But the meat is just about done. We're approaching the end, my friends. Which means I am going to cut the buns. The buns were pre-cut, it would appear. I did not expect that. Well, guess that makes my life somewhat easier. Simple pre-boiled brioche buns, nice and buttery. I have made brioche buns before, and it's lovely, and it's very, very buttery. You use a lot of butter. In general, though, rule of thumb: if you have to use a lot of butter to make something, it's going to be delicious, because butter is one of the most delicious things in the world. And that's just a rule. I don't make the rules, I just abide by them, like the good boy that I am. And now a little bit of a toasting of the buns. Like when you have a buttered bun, and if you then also actually toast it in butter, that is just... Oh, what is the right term for it? It's not majestic. It's not that it is verdant. It's indulgent. I believe indulgent would be the correct term. But it should be enough for them. Just like toasting. There we go, that is beautiful. I'm going to turn that off, and oh god, I can actually hear my own thoughts again. That's nice. I will now be dressing the burgers. In my fridge I have a few things that I'm going to be using for dressing the burgers. I'm going relatively simple. Depending on who you ask, there might be people that say that this is way too much. But then again, there's also people that say that, oh, you can't put this thing on a burger because that is overdoing it. It should be simple. I think it's very simple the way I do it. But, well, there will always be people critical of your art. And what do you tell them? That's right, you tell them it's my art. I do as I very well please. So, on the bottom of each, I'm going to be putting chili ketchup. Because it's not really spicy, but I just think it's a very nice ketchup. It has like a little bit of spice. I enjoy spicy food. This isn't what creates it. However, that comes later. And so, after this, I will be putting the meat. Because, if I put it higher up, it's going to be leaking a lot of juices onto the salad. And that just creates a mess. Now, next, what shall we do? Well, let's go for the burger sauce. The Heinz American style burger sauce. It's a spiced mayo. I'm not quite sure what they come in it, but it tastes quite nice. I think it fits well. Could I just make my own? Yes, but as I said earlier, I'm very, very lazy today. I mean, otherwise I would have made my own ketchup. I would have made my own mayo. I would have made everything from the bottom up. I've done it all before. But I am lazy, and apparently I'm also having a whole lot of trouble opening this. Jesus Christ, that was much, much, much more troublesome than it should have been. I have no idea what went wrong there. Right, let's put a little bit on. Just a bit. Just a bit. I enjoy being indulgent with these things and adding just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Right. Okay, my hair does not taste very nice right now. I can tell you that much. Well, what's next? Well, I believe we should go for the bacon strips. The massive flippin' bacon strips. Now, would it be reasonable to cut these in half and put them, like, next to each other? Yes, it would be. Is that as fun? No. You know what is fun, though? I have the third piece made. Just a little bit of that. Delicious. Is bacon a good cut of meat? No, it's really not. Is it a horrific guilty pleasure for a very large part of the population? Yes. Right. Pickles. Let's try. I believe I have a fork here, so let's just have a little bit of one first on its own. See if they're worth anything or if I've horribly messed up. Could have used a bit more vinegar, honestly, which may seem weird considering how much I kept pouring in, but it is still very nice. Still much better than what you pre-buy, because it actually has a notion of acidity, which in my mind they have to have. So that is it for the pickled cucumber. And now let's try. Let's see with the onions. And like pickled red onions is wonderful because from what I can see on the video preview anyway, it gets that like beautiful pink color. It's absolutely beautiful. Wonderful. Absolutely wonderful. So we'll take a bit of that. And I believe it is important that I am using a fork to be able to pick it up and my fingers to move it, because touch your food. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, you're going to eat it, so it's obviously safe for your body, and it's nice to touch your food because you've made it. You've made an effort to have this come true, come together. So why wouldn't you? I mean, honestly. Let's see, tomato. These are going to be horrifically overfilled. I'll save the rest of the tomato for tomorrow. Just have a chance. Let's see. And then we add the romaine at top. And then, my friends, we have a little bit of the mushroom. Which is not easy to put on. Oh God, did they get a bit too much? Let's have a taste. Slightly overdone. Slightly overdone, only still quite delicious. And so, no, wait. One of them I'll make it a little bit spicy. For which I have a hot sauce called the Elixir. It's very spicy, but not horrifically so. And it's got a nice bit of smoke, which is wonderful for burgers. I'll just add a bit, because otherwise I'm going to upset my tummy. It's not like, again, it's not very spicy, but it's probably something like 20 times as spicy as sriracha. I'll just do it for the one of them. Oi, 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 ha, 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 ha. Goodness gracious. Well, I guess I've got my bread knife here. This is where I try and do one of those, I don't even recall. What are they called? What are they called again? When you cut through the burger, it's the midsection? No. Midriff? No. It's called something, but I don't remember what it's called because English is not my first language. So any complaints about my usage of the language are going to be frowned upon. But I am going to be trying to push down on this burger. I'm going to be trying to cut it in half. And you will see, hopefully, a nice looking burger not completely falling apart. Let's try and see if I can move the camera closer, because otherwise this is going to be a horrible mess. Let's see here. Can I move the camera closer? Oh yes. Look at that. Falling apart in front of you. If that's not beautiful, then, well, I'm not the most artistic person. But I make food happen, and assumedly, it will taste flippin' delicious. So, let us give it a try, and then after that, if it tastes nice, I will chuck. Well, I'm glad I made two. I am going to have a very nice time eating through these burgers. A little bit of mushroom on the side, my dear. So, with that, I'm going to just wash my hands real quick because that is very greasy. Ooh, I can taste the hot sauce. The elixir is working. Moving that to the side. Getting this inside. Moving the camera so you can actually see my face. I'll now check this. And with that I will say, what a wonderful time this has been. I need to do more cooking videos, they're fun. I mean, they're a whole lot more effort than just saying, hey, this was my day, and then chucking a beer. But they're fun. And I like fun, and I like the kitchen. It's where I have the best times. Well, I might be pushing it, but I certainly have some good times. So on that note, as a finale to this video, cheers. And can we just appreciate for a moment how cool this apron is? But yeah. On that note, I'm going to be turning off and see you all next time for the next episode of Phil Chucks.